All right, let's start with some of the common mistakes that you people only have done into your scripts. Now, this is basically accumulation of all of the areas of the syllabus that we have, comprising of the risk, internal control, substantive procedures, section A, little bit of it as well. And I wanted to discuss this in little more detail because I know that a lot of students usually tend to fall into these pits. So let's start with the first topic that we have some of the general mistakes which are not very topic specific or like question specific, but these are some of the mistakes that usually students do in the papers when they are practicing. So these mistakes are accumulation of the practice questions that you people have done and also the test papers that you of course gave it to me for evaluation purposes. So accumulation of all of those things I have mentioned over here. So first of all, we have not reading the case study or questions carefully. Now, a lot of times I have seen that, sometimes when we are reading questions, because in audit, we all know that the questions, especially for the auditors, especially for the internal controls, substantive procedures, these are all repeated. Like the formation of the questions are always repeated, that evaluate the audit risk and response, or for substantive procedures also, for knowledge based also. Sometimes in most case scenarios, the underlying agenda of the question is almost the same, right? So sometimes I feel that we overlook the question because we already have a preset idea that okay, this is what the question is asking. But sometimes the examiner wants to give you a little tough situation. उस cases में वो क्या करते हैं, that give you certain questions जो लगते हैं this is very similar to what we have practiced already, but they are little different. So it is always very important for us to read the requirements. So by questions I mean the requirements of the question that it is asking you for. And by case study I mean that sometimes, again, because we all know that case studies are very very, like, all of the risks that we have or the control deficiencies that we have, those are mostly repeated. Like जैसे बैंक लोन होता है, provisions आते हैं, NCA, all of these are repeated, right? But sometimes the case study is not same or is not what we have already practiced. So an underlying assumption कि अच्छा यही question पूछ रहा है या यही case study में बोल रहे हैं is not suitable for that particular case scenario. That is the reason it is equally important for you to read the case study properly एंड ऑल्सो रीड द रिक्वायरमेंट्स. चाहे आपको पता है कि इट इज द एग्जैक्ट सेम रिक्वायरमेंट जो आपने बहुत बार करी है, बट आई थिंक इट इज इक्वली इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर यू पीपल टू read the requirement irrespective, right? So that is one general mistake that I have found, because in some of the, I think in one of the tests there was a question in regards to quality management. So it was a deficiencies question, quality management deficiencies, but still people have written about the risk detection, risk, inheritance risk, because they felt that the question was asking about the risk associated with them, which was not the case. So that was one area that I can remember right now. And similarly it can also happen with knowledge based questions. So in the question paper, I think in one of the tests it was when the question asked you about the CAM paragraph, or when the question asked you about the provisions, the warranty provision question, if you people remember in the test, it did not ask you in the warranty provision, it did not ask you the substantive procedures, it asked you the factors relating to that. If you people have watched the debrief for the test, you would know what I'm talking about. So it is important, again, udhar you would assume it is asking the procedures, rather it asked you the factors, because you did not read the question. आपको लगा कि warranty provision का substantive procedure पूछा, because it was from a risk question, I guess. So again, that is the reason it is important for you to read the case study as well as the question carefully. Even if आपने वो same question thousands of time पढ़ चुका है, still exam में 1 सेकंड लगेगा, 2 सेकंड लगेंगे, question को वापस पढ़ लो, ताकि आपको पता चल जाए, एक surety मिल जाए that yes, the question is exactly the same what I am thinking it to be. That's the first thing. Second thing is not writing answers as per marks provided. Now this is a very common mistake that people usually do in a subjective paper like AA or AAA or SBL in professional levels, because here we do not have any numericals to solve. Because if it is a practical paper, we usually know that अच्छा ये पूछ रहे हैं इतना, मतलब ये आंसर आ गया, we are good, we don't have to write anything extra for that. But क्योंकि audit is a subjective paper, is a descriptive paper, कभी कभार we write too much which is not required, जिसकी वजह से एक तो आपको extra marks नहीं मिलने वाले हैं, secondly time management issues भी आ सकते हैं, right, which usually happens. So एक चीज वो writing too much or too less, sometimes again this is one of the examples that I want to give you from the test papers only. If you people remember, उसमें एक question था for the audit, I think the engagement letter, like what are the contents of the engagement letter. So the answers that you people, it was a 5 marker or a 4 marker if I'm not wrong. So do you people think कि if you are writing one word answers कि एक एक word में 4 points लिख दिए, तो would you get 4 marks or 5 marks just for that? Of course not. क्योंकि it is a 4 marker, it's not a 1 marker or 2 marker. अगर एक या दो नंबर का होता तो definitely you can just write like one word pointers and you're good to go. But when it is a 4 marker or a 5 marker, it is your duty to write as per the marks. If you have to write at least a line extra with what you are trying to say, what is the contents of the engagement letter. So similarly, writing too less will also lead to deduction of your marks. Similarly, writing too much is will also lead to not deduction of marks, of course, but to time management issues. And why do you need to write a 10 marker answer in a 5 marker question? Does not make sense. So this is again, always see the marks. The substantive procedures हैं 5 marks के हैं तो 5 substantive procedures लिखो and maximum 6 but not more than that. ऐसे कभी कभार होता है कि we know too much information, so we feel कि supposingly आपके पास 2 questions है, question 1 question 2. Question 1 आपको बहुत अच्छे से आता है, you know everything in regards to question number 1, but it is only for 3 marks. तो इसमें इतनी सारी information if you write over here, it won't fetch you 5 marks for obvious reasons. Rather move to question number 2 and write over there the extra points that you have, you have your time left for that. So इसीलिए हमेशा पहले marks देखो. सबसे पहले your priority whenever you start with section B, your priority should be that you are first reading the requirement. Case study सबसे पहले नहीं पढ़नी चाहिए, सबसे पहले requirement पढ़ो, see what the marks is it for, and then go and read the case study so that you know कि what are you looking for in the case study. कि अगर supposedly it is asking you the risk, so at least you know what you're looking for in the case study. आप blindly case study को नहीं पढ़ रहे हो, right? So that is another point that you should not miss upon. Next thing is not taking knowledge based questions seriously. Again, this is one of the very very common mistakes that a lot of people usually do, is कि knowledge based questions, I yesterday only put in the group, I think it adds 10 to 15 marks of the entire paper in your AA syllabus. 10 to 15 marks is a whole lot, and this is the only area in audit जो आप learn कर सकते हो, which you know that this is something that can come in the paper and you have learned it very well. This is the only area in audit, I would say, and it fetches at least 10 marks if we see on the lower end, because it comes in your risk question, can come in the internal controls question, it comes in your section A as well as some of the MCQs. So it accounts for at least 10 to 15% of the entire paper, which is a whole lot. So do not take it lightly. If you check out the drive link that I have already shared with you people, if you want, I'll share the drive link again. That has a list or basically a PDF of knowledge-based questions which are commonly asked. I know that is very vast. I am going to share some of the important knowledge-based question list as well with you people, so you can refer to that. But for time being, at least read them all, because I can tell you the important ones, but the examiner can give you any of the knowledge-based questions, of course, right? So that is the reason. एक बार read कर लो उसको, and then I will provide you the list of the important knowledge-based questions also, which you can use in the last week as well, just to brush up those or revise just those topics, right? So this is knowledge-based questions. Then the next thing is not taking standards ISs very seriously. Now, I know that a lot of people say कि in audit or in AAA also, your standards are not important. Even if you do not know the name and the number of the standard, it works. It does work, I would say. It can work. And the examiner will not give you marks just that you have written the standard or the name and the number correctly, of course, because it is not FR or SBR, right? It is AA, it is AAA. So in those cases, I say IFRS is because, see, whenever you're writing any audit risk, whenever you're writing substantive procedures, your base of your explanation, especially in questions of audit risk, is completely based upon a standard. अगर आप bank loan की refer कर रहे हो, if you're referring to any provisions, if you're referring to any property, plant and equipment, you know that you're referring to a standard, which is IS 16, IS 37, IS 38, all of these things, right? And when you are actually referring your answer that इसकी वजह से overstatement हो सकता है और understatement हो सकता है, why not to write the number of the standard? It improves the presentation. अब अगर आपको examiner को supposingly there are two scripts of two different students. One has written the explanation without the standards. One has written the explanation, both have written the correct explanation and everything is okay. But this person also included the IFRS standard in relation to the auditors. So possibly here the person might get 1.5, but here there's no room left for the examiner to cut any marks for you. So he might give you a full 2 over here. I'm not saying that this person does not deserve a 2. It does. But then again, there are chances that the examiner might cut half or a full mark, 1 mark in the entire question because they felt that the presentation could have been improved or some other point could have been there, right? So that is the reason I say, and in double A, we all can agree upon this, I guess, that there are not so many standards that are commonly asked. I can legit count on my fingers to tell you कि इतने ही standards you need to revise and just go into the exam. There are no technical standards. There are no, and even for the standards that are being asked, no, they are not technically asked. Of course, you don't have to go into depth of those standards. You should just know the name and the number and what they basically mean, right? What is IS 38? What does it say? What is IS 37? What does it say in regards to provision? So that is what you should technically know, and that is enough. You can just give half or 1 hour to this particular thing and you'll be sorted with this thing. So again, it is something which is not probably going to get your marks as such, but of course it is going to hamper the presentation that you have. So again, take it a little seriously, just revise. It's not a big task. You still have so many days to revise these and it will not take you more than half or 1 hour to revise all of the standards which are commonly asked. Again, there's a PDF in the same drive link which contains the commonly asked standards with their explanation, so probably you can go and check that out as well. All right, the next one is not being able to manage time. So, guys, can you people let me know how many of you face time management issues when you're writing the answers, when you're practicing even on your own, when you're doing your test? How many of you face time management issues? I think most of you would, but I would like to know. Yeah. Yes, I can see everybody's hands getting raised. Exactly, exactly. That is what my point is. Time management, guys, is important. You people already know that, right? And time management, because see, I'll give you example. I'm not really sure if you people already know this example or no. But in my previous batch of the revision course, there were two students of mine who were really good in your concepts, as in the answers that they used to write. They were very, very good. And in the mock, because when the pre June mock happened, they gave the mock, and they both of them scored above 70 in the mock. I think one scored 73, one scored 76. And that time they were not able to manage time. They took, I think, half an hour or 40 minutes extra for the complete mock, both of them. And I at that time also told them that it is a problem and it can lead to a failure, because अगर आप सोचो, if half an hour 40 minutes means at least 15-20 marks in the paper, right? So I told them that you have to work upon this, and this was the issue from test number 1. Now in the when they appeared for the paper, they told me कि जो जितना मैंने attempt करा है, that is absolutely fine, that I'm confident for that, but I left 15-20 marks of paper, which I exactly told them, क्योंकि अगर आपका आधे घंटे से पेपर रह गया है तो दिस इज व्हाट विल बी लेफ्ट. सेक्शन ए में वो नहीं कर पाए थे एंड की लास्ट, like you have 3 case studies, right? So they were not able to do 1 case study, and the other person was not able to do the knowledge based questions plus 1 substantive procedure question in the question number 3 of your section B, जिसकी वजह से थोड़ा मेसअप हो गया. सो दे वर स्टिल होपिंग कि probably we'll clear at least at 50-51, because the quality of the answers that they've written for the other portion is absolutely good. Now when the result came, they failed. One of them failed at 46, one of them failed at 48. So that was just because they were not able to manage time. Quality was not an issue, क्योंकि 15-20 marks में से उनको बहुत easily 4-5 marks मिल जाते for obvious reasons, but because they were not able to manage time, that was the issue. So guys, see, I understand that you people are trying to manage time. Some of you are hurrying up your typing speed, etc. But सबसे पहले identify कि क्या issue है. What is the issue? Is it typing speed अगर issue है तो वो तो आपको practice करने से ही आएगी. अगर आपको लगता है कि आपके के concepts weak हैं, उस concept में supposedly my auditor's concept is weak and due to which I take more time in writing the answers so that I write the correct answers. Or let's suppose take the example of substantive procedures. You people all are little scared of substantive procedures, I know. एंड उस केस में आप लोग थोड़ा ज्यादा टाइम लगाते हो टू आंसर सब्सटैंटिव प्रोसीजर्स बिकॉज यू वांट कि मेरे एकदम परफेक्ट सब्सटैंटिव प्रोसीजर्स होने चाहिए, राइट? दैट इज कंप्लीटली फाइन. नाउ यू नो योर वीकनेस. आपको वीकनेस अपनी पता है. उस केस में आप ज्यादा प्रैक्टिस करो फॉर सब्सटैंटिव प्रोसीजर्स स्पेसिफिकली, ताकि क्योंकि आपको पता है कि आप उसमें लैक करते हो. दिस इज समवेयर विच यू आर स्कैर्ड ऑफ. सो टेक extra efforts to work upon only those areas जहां पे आपको लग रहा है कि you lag, especially in substantive procedure questions or any other. अगर कोई section A का question अगर आपको लग रहा है कि I don't know really very well, so probably in that also you can do more questions because I think one of you also or two of you reached out to me regarding the same and said me the same ki because I'm scared of section A, so I'm only practicing section A, which is fair enough as well because you don't want yourself to put in a situation ki exam mein you're facing issues, and sometimes when questions we are not able to understand the questions in the exam, we panic also, और panic होगा तो again फिर time management में फिर से issue आएगा, right? So work upon the areas जो आपको लगता है. अभी you still have 7-8 days till the exam date, तो अभी भी आपके पास more than a week है to prepare on this. So just focus upon, I think one of the main areas जो आपका focus point होना चाहिए should also be time management. Give yourself lesser time right now कि मतलब if in the exam technically for a question you can give 20 minutes for example, right? अभी take only 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes maximum. क्योंकि अगर अभी आप 10-12 मिनट 15 मिनट में वो क्वेश्चन कर पाओगे तभी आप जाके वो 20 मिनट्स में एग्जाम में कर पाओगे बिकॉज एग्जाम सिचुएशंस आर वेरी डिफरेंट. यू डोंट नो what is going to happen at the center or even if you're giving remotely the paper, right? So that is the reason always prepare for worst. हमेशा एग्जाम में वर्स्ट के लिए प्रिपेयर जाओ, तभी यू विल बी हैप्पी व्हेंस यू आर डन विद द एग्जाम. नेक्स्ट थिंग, doing a lot of grammatical errors or spelling errors. Okay, now this is something. Do you guys, again, I would want to ask you people first and then I'll tell my views on this. Do you people think that if you make spelling mistakes in the paper, section B I'm talking about, examiner cuts marks for the spelling errors or the grammatical errors? Or examiner is not concerned with that? Quickly. Yes, no? It should be understandable, I guess. No, only if there is a lot of errors. All right. Others, what are your views on this? They will cut marks, I guess. Okay. Baki batao. Do you think your marks will get cut if you are not writing, if there are a lot of grammatical mistakes or spelling errors as well? Quickly. Others don't have a point of view. Only if there are, yes, only if there are. So basically what I mean by this is sometimes, when we are writing the answers and we are in a hurry, sometimes spelling errors happen. You will see the PDF that I'm sharing my screen with. You will see spelling errors here also because I was too fast and I was not considered without regarding the spelling errors, right? Now in the exam when you're writing your answers and एक या दो spelling errors आपको हो जाती हैं गलती से in your answers, that is understandable. And क्योंकि ये जूनियर क्लासेस नहीं है, दिस इज नॉट 11th 12th या फिर और जूनियर क्लासेस नहीं है, तो स्पेलिंग एरर्स के मार्क्स नहीं कटते हैं इफ द स्पेलिंग एरर्स आर वेरी लेस और इफ द ग्रामेटिकल एरर्स आर वेरी लेस. बट if your grammatical errors, because guys you need to understand one very important thing, that your answer scripts are not going to be checked by any local tutor. By that I mean any Indian tutor, right? Because we as Indians, if most of you are Indian, you would know that we sometimes cross reference and we understand the language because sometimes we do have the habit of doing that, right? But your scripts are going to be checked by somebody who knows English really very well, right? And if there are a lot of grammatical errors in your answers, and due to which your sentence is not understandable, and examiner, of course, the person has to check more than hundred of scripts at in a day or so, in few couple of days. So that person does not have that much of time to sit and to read your sentence two or three times to be able to understand what you're trying to say. Does not make any sense. Even I sometimes, because even I have a lot of scripts, sometimes of course my duty is to check your answers and tell you if what you mean by what do you mean by the sentence and is it correct or no. That is my duty. But sometimes when I'm also reading, I don't understand, I just cross it because I am not able to understand. If I'm not able to understand, how can you expect the examiner to understand? So yes, if the grammatical errors are too much, if the spelling errors are too much, because the examiner is not going to understand what you're trying to say, he will cut marks, he or she will cut marks. But if it is very limited and it's happening at a, in some of the questions and it's understandable, the person is able to understand, then it's not an issue. So again, not too many mistakes, but some of them can work out. All right. So these were some of the general mistakes. Any particular questions in this particular slide? Can we move with the next one? Anything you people want to ask in regards to this? Yes, no? Section A will be different or moderate. I think Umang, you mean difficult. See, again, I will talk about section A also, but just to answer your question, it has been my experience for over 4 years at the moment, and four को divide multiply कर लो 4 quarters से, तो उतने मतलब उतने एग्जाम्स आई हैव सीन, and in I would say with my experience, in 80% of the quarters that your exams are into, your section A will always come very tricky. I don't want to scare you people, I don't want to scare you, but I'm just giving you a heads up कि section A is not going to come easy. I have every time told the students the same thing, and every time जब exam होता है उसके बाद बच्चे आते हैं and they tell me the same thing, that the section A came tricky. We were able to manage it, but it came tricky. It was not easy. So some of the students who take section A lightly, वो थिंक कि एमसीक्यूज ही तो है, मार्क ही तो करना है, एक दो मार्क करके हो जाएगा, या वी कैन मतलब ऊपर ऊपर से पढ़ लिया तो हो जाएगा, नहीं होता है. सेक्शन ए विल ऑलवेज कम वेरी ट्रिकी. एंड जो आप क्वेश्चंस कर रहे हो स्टडी हब पे, या जो आप क्वेश्चंस कर रहे हो कैप्लन किट में, उसके लेवल पे भी आ सकता है, उससे नीचे तो नहीं आने वाला है. दैट इज माई 100% गारंटी. या तो उतना ही लेवल आएगा, या उससे एक लेवल दो लेवल ऊपर आ सकते हैं थोड़े बहुत क्वेश्चंस, ऑफ कोर्स नॉट ऑल. एंड सेक्शन बी ऑलवेज कम्स वेरी लेंदी. तो इजी होता है क्योंकि हमको पता है क्वेश्चंस आर रिपीटेड ओनली इन टर्म्स ऑफ द टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस, लेकिन लेंदी आता है. तो सेक्शन ए थोड़ा ट्रिकी आएगा, सेक्शन बी लेंदी आएगा. ट्रिकी जब आपका सेक्शन ए आएगा, सो अगेन इफ यू नो द कॉन्सेप्ट, द कोर ऑफ द कॉन्सेप्ट रियली वेल, देन यू विल बी एबल टू मैनेज सेक्शन ए. लेकिन अगर आपने ऊपर ऊपर से पढ़े हैं कॉन्सेप्ट्स एंड यू हैव रोट लर्न सम ऑफ द कॉन्सेप्ट्स, देन सेक्शन ए इज नॉट पॉसिबल फॉर यू. So I hope that answers. Any other doubts in this regard, in the general mistakes slide? I would say refer both Kaplan and Study Hub, but Study Hub has some of the wrong answers also. So you have to be a little careful with Study Hub. Kaplan is all right. Kaplan is very good for both section A and section B. You can also refer to examiner reports for section A. उसमें भी क्योंकि उसमें past year के जो आपके past quarters के questions आए होंगे, वो exact questions उसमें given होते हैं. तो it will be a very good practice for you also. तो examiner reports लो, Kaplan के उठाओ, and Study Hub also you can refer, but be a little more careful with it. How many years examiner reports? I would say pick up from 2021, 21, 22, 23, 24, and latest one, which is March, June 25. And go in the reverse sequence, like from the most recent one, which is March, June 25, then September, December 24, and then backwards. So at least at least, I would say 6, 7 reading of the exam reports because you still have time. BPP kit also works. Yes, Kashvi, BPP kit also works. I think Kaplan is the easiest one for section A. Then you have BPP and then you have Study Hub, if I'm not wrong. Last year exam report, can somebody share? It is available on a practice platform. So you can just type on Google ACCA exam report, you'll be able to see it. Okay, let's move to the next portion, which is specific to your audit risk. All right, so let's start by first reading, not writing the headings. Again, this is very similar to what I referred to you for IFRS's, your standards, all of these things. अगर आपने हेडिंग लिख दिया है and you have not written anything else, you're not going to of course get marks, but again it is good for presentation purposes. If you write the heading, if there are, you compare the answers for two students, and if one student has written the heading, other has not written the heading, it, you will be inclined to read the answer for the first one because it is better presented. So again, writing the headings is better. If you feel that, again, I would say one more thing for time management. If you people think that this is just wastage of time, for writing a single heading, you won't take more than 2 to 3 seconds or 3 to 4 seconds to write one single heading. And you have to write 8 audit risks. So not more than 20 to 25 seconds you're going to waste on the headings. And I think that much time you can devote to a better presentation in the answers, right? So that is one thing, that always write the headings. It betters the presentation of your answers. Second is, this is very, very, very important. In a lot of scripts, I have seen this issue. Guys, I hope you know the bifurcation for the marks of order, for the marks of the audit risk questions. So usually it is always a 16 marker that comes. So 16 marker basically means that 8 audit risks you have to write into 2. So 2 marks per audit risk. So audit risk and audit response. So 1 mark for audit risk, 1 mark for audit response. Now this 1 mark is further divided into half mark and half a mark. Half a mark for identification of the risk and half a mark for the explanation of the risk. This is how you divide the marks, right? Now, this statement from the question, not writing the statement from the question, this actually is your half a mark for identification, right? So if you're not writing the statement from the question, basically the identification, so you're writing the heading, you're writing the statement from the question, that should be your second thing that you have to write in the steps. So wherever you found the risk from the case study, you have to copy paste that statement and write in their answers. A lot of people also ask me if we can copy paste the exact statement. Yes, you can copy paste the exact statement. You do not have to rewrite in your own language. You can definitely copy paste. उससे nullification नहीं होती है. So this is again important. Next thing is not talking about the impact. So a lot of people, what they do is when they're writing the risk, they write कि supposingly bank loan है, तो the risk should be split between current non-current liabilities. Okay, ठीक है, होना चाहिए था, but इसका risk क्या है? What is the risk? अगर मैंने ये नहीं किया तो क्या होने वाला है? ये तो सेम स्टेटमेंट मेरे को क्वेश्चन में भी मिल गई थी. आई सॉ द सेम स्टेटमेंट इन द क्वेश्चन ऑल्सो, बट वॉट आर यू एडिंग टू द आंसर? हाउ आर यू टेलिंग कि ये हमारे लिए रेड फ्लैग है? हाउ इज इट बैड फॉर द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स? दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट, एंड दिस विल फेच यू दिस हाफ अ मार्क. नॉट राइटिंग कि अगर आपने सिर्फ लिख दिया कि इट शुड बी स्प्लिट इन करंट एंड नॉन करंट लाइबिलिटीज इन द बैंक लोन. क्यों होना चाहिए? ताकि क्लासिफिकेशन सही से हो, ताकि मिस स्टेटमेंट्स ना हो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में. दैट इज व्हाट यू हैव टू राइट ओवर हियर, right? So always write the impact, understatement, overstatement, or misstatement, or any type of your risk, just a detection risk, control risk, inheritance risk. All of these you have to actually state. If you do not state them, then you are not going to get half a mark for the impact. Another thing which is very clearly mentioned in one of the examiner reports, so if you read your examiner reports, you're going to see this, what I'm just going to tell you. So sometimes I have seen people, when you people are confused कि understatement होगा या overstatement होगा, you people write the word as misstated. Yeah, even if you know कि क्या होने वाला है, because you just want to quickly write the answers, yeah, you don't want to refer to the case scenario, or something is wrong, you people write misstated. The financial statements will be misstated in all the audit risk. Do you think that you're going to get marks with this? Any of you think कि अगर misstatement लिख दिया तो हमारे लिए एक safer edge हो जाएगा और एग्जामिनर हमको मार्क्स दे देगा, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट तो misstated ही है, तो हम इसमें गलत क्या है? You people think कि misstatement लिखने से it is all right? Yes, we need to be specific. Absolutely, we have to be specific. So if you read the exam reports, उसमें बहुत clearly examiner ने लिखा है कि people who have written. So now there are two case scenarios. Alright, one is when in the question it is a case scenario जहाँ पे दोनों चीजें हो सकती हैं. It can be overstatement, it can be understatement, both. उस केस में आप लिख सकते हो misstatement, क्योंकि ultimately it is not confirmed. या तो आप दोनों लिख दो, over it can lead to overstatement or understatement, or you can write misstatement. But in some questions, I would say in 90% of the questions, it is very, very clear. If you know the concept, it is very, very clear कि understatement ही होने वाली है या overstatement ही होने वाली है. So why are you writing misstatement? वहां पे यू हैव टू बी स्पेसिफिक. इफ सपोजिंगली अगर क्वेश्चन ने बोला है कि प्रोविजन हम नहीं रिकॉग्नाइज कर रहे हैं, हमने सिर्फ 10 मिलियन का प्रोविजन रिकॉग्नाइज किया, बट एक्चुअल में ऑडिटर के हिसाब से 20 मिलियन का प्रोविजन रिकॉग्नाइज होना चाहिए, तो इस केस में ओवर स्टेटमेंट तो हो ही नहीं सकती है ना, क्योंकि उन्होंने रिकॉग्नाइज करा ही नहीं है. तो मिस स्टेटमेंट तो होगा ही नहीं, अंडर स्टेटमेंट ही होगा. सो इफ इन दैट केस यू हैव रिटन मिस स्टेटमेंट, मार्क्स नहीं मिलने वाले. सो यू आर एक्चुअली नॉट ऑन दी सेफर एज, आपको मार्क्स मिलेंगे ही नहीं. सो दिस इज नॉट प्लेइंग सेफ, दिस इज प्लेइंग रिस्की, right? So इसलिए never ever write vague answers, never ever write, always write specific answers. If it is clear from the question कि दोनों चीजें हो सकती हैं, can be understatement, can be overstatement, then write misstatement. Next thing is presentation. Again, this is in regards to, I would say, leaving line. So what I mean by that is, supposingly आपने heading लिखी, audit risk में I'm talking, but this is for risk also, this is for controls also, deficiencies also, all of these questions, right? So आपने heading लिखी, then you leave a line, you leave a gap in between. Then you write the statement from the question. यहाँ पे आपने copy paste करी statement from the question, and then again you leave a line, and then you write the impact of it. इससे क्या होगा? Again, presentation, एग्जामिनर को एक बिग चंकी पैराग्राफ नहीं मिलेगा, बिकॉज अगेन इट बिकम्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू नेविगेट द आंसर. एग्जामिनर को आपका आंसर ढूंढना नहीं चाहिए, ढूंढना नहीं पड़े. लाइक यू शुड इंश्योर दैट द एग्जामिनर इज नॉट is able to find the answers then and there. He has to give 1 mark, half a mark, half a mark. He should be able to say कि अच्छा half a mark का paragraph ये है, half a mark का paragraph ये है. They don't, you should not leave a room for them to be able to find the answers. उनको दिख जाना चाहिए answers. So that is the reason leaving a line will not waste time, will not waste anything of yours. You just have to leave a line and you are good. So that is what I meant by presentation. Then next thing, getting confused between audit response and SP. I think lot of people do tend to get confused between these things in the auditor's response. Now guys, एक चीज बहुत सिंपल सी समझो. When we are talking about auditor's response, all right, auditor's response क्या होता है? सपोजिंगली एक रिस्क का एग्जांपल लेते हैं. सपोजिंगली हमारा बैंक लोन का रिस्क है, मेरा फेवरेट है, ठीक है. अगर हम लेते हैं बैंक लोन का रिस्क, देर आर टू रिस्क एसोसिएटेड विद दैट. एक तो क्लासिफिकेशन वाला कि करंट लाइबिलिटी में, नॉन करंट लाइबिलिटी में करा है कि नहीं करा है, एक वो रिस्क. एक और रिस्क की हो सकता है फाइनेंस कॉस्ट जो एसोसिएटेड है विद द बैंक लोन, इट हैज नॉट बीन रिकॉग्नाइज्ड करेक्टली इन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स. दैट इज अनदर वन, राइट? Now when you are writing, so supposingly always whenever you are writing the answers, think yourself as the auditor. ऐसा मत समझो कि आप आंसर्स लिख रहे हो, आप एग्जाम दे रहे हो. डोंट थिंक लाइक दैट. ऑलवेज थिंक कि आप किसी कंपनी में गए हो या आपकी ही कंपनी, इट इज योर कंपनी, एंड यू आर फेसिंग सच इश्यूज ऑफ ऑडिटर्स. ये वाला रिस्क आया है दैट प्रोबेबली द फाइनेंस डायरेक्टर हैज मेड सम मिस्टेक, या फिर द मैनेजमेंट इज डूइंग सम errors, right? And as a auditor or as a senior manager, supposingly look yourself as the CEO, for example, and you are reviewing the financial statements. It's not your job, I know, but supposingly it is a startup and you are looking at the financial statements and you know कि हमने एक बैंक लोन लिया था, and now you're checking कि क्या मेरी जो finance director है, has he or she correctly split between the two, right? Now responses होते हैं जो आपका immediate response होगा to your फाइनेंस डायरेक्टर फॉर एग्जाम्पल. सो इमीडिएट रिस्पॉन्स क्या होगा कि व्हेन यू सी कि इन्होंने करा है कि नहीं करा है, तो यू विल आस्क हिम, यू विल डिस्कस कि have you done the correct split between the current and non-current liabilities? Have you recorded the finance cost in the financial statements of the interest amount? Have you done that? So that is your immediate response. So जब भी हम auditors response लिखते हैं, that is a very first basis response which we provide to the management कि अच्छा ये कर रहे हो तुम या ये नहीं कर रहे हो. Is it in regards to the standards? Is it what you're doing? Sometimes again the same provision वाला example if I take, अगर आपने recognize करा 10 मिलियन प्रोविजन, तो आप उनसे पूछ सकते हो, कैन डिस्कस द रैशनल कि आपने ये क्यों करा है, व्हाट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड दिस. So whenever it is, audit responses are always the first step towards you inquiring regarding a particular risk, and it is very specific to your risk जो आपने identify करा है, right? But substantive procedures are very very detailed procedures, as we all know कि उसमें हम बहुत सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स को क्रॉस रेफरेंस करते हैं, बहुत सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स को देखते हैं, कंपेयर करते हैं, पिछले साल की डॉक्यूमेंट्स भी ले लेते हैं, अगले साल की पोस्ट ईयर प्री ईयर एंड भी ले लेते हैं डॉक्यूमेंटेशन। तो substantive procedures are very very detailed procedures and it is done on an assertion level। हमेशा हम एक assertion के लिए देखते हैं कि हमारे फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स कंप्लीट हैं कि नहीं है, एक्यूरेट है कि नहीं है, ऑल ऑफ दोज थिंग्स। बट जो ऑडिटर्स रिस्पॉन्सेज होते हैं दे आर वेरी जनरल इन नेचर एंड दे आर द फर्स्ट रिस्पॉन्स बाय द ऑडिटर व्हेन दे सी अ पर्टिकुलर रिस्क, right? So always never confuse these two when you're writing the responses in the audit risk wala question, because it won't get your marks if you're writing the substantive procedures in those cases, right? So this is another mistake. Next is copy pasting the entire paragraph instead of exact lines. Again, this is one of the things I think I've talked about before as well, that supposingly okay, let me supposingly आपके पास केस स्टडी है, you have the case study for the risk and this is the same thing for the deficiencies and control areas as well, question number 2 in the section B as well. Now supposingly you have a case study, supposingly a 5-liner case study, a paragraph has been given to you, right? And when you're reading the paragraph you got to know कि first line is okay, we don't have any problem with the first line, it's a filler. Second line is also not a problematic situation. Third line, you were able to identify the risk. Third and fourth line, let's suppose say. This is the area wherein you identified a risk. Sometimes what the students do is they copy paste this entire paragraph and put there in their answers. जो identification वाला half a mark होता है उसके लिए. Now, do you people think कि इसके लिए if I'm copy pasting the entire paragraph, am I going to get marks? Of course not. Why? Because first, second और last line तो risk थी ही नहीं. Risk तो these 2 lines were there. So when you're copy pasting the paragraph to your answers, the examiner again has to go through the paragraph and see कि risk कहाँ है, where is the risk. If examiner only has to identify the risk, is he or is she going to give you marks? Of course not. क्योंकि आपने पूरा पैराग्राफ कॉपी पेस्ट कर दिया, यू हैव नॉट कॉपी पेस्टेड जस्ट द लाइन ऑफ द रिस्क। इन दोज केसेस यू आर टेलिंग द एग्जामिनर कि ये पैराग्राफ है, तुम इसमें से डिसाइड कर लो कौन सा रिस्क है, हो सकता है फर्स्ट रिस्क हो सकता है सेकंड रिस्क को, आई डोंट नो, तुम डिसाइड कर लो। In those cases again you're not going to get half a mark for the identification. You have to be very very specific to the risk. सिर्फ उतनी ही लाइन कॉपी पेस्ट करो जहां पे you have identified the risk. All right, so this is another mistake people do. Next mistake that people usually do is when they combine 2 or more risk. कभी कभार ऐसा होता है कि इस सेम पैराग्राफ में फर्स्ट लाइन पे भी रिस्क है, सेकंड लाइन पे भी रिस्क है, एंड समटाइम्स बिकॉज स्टूडेंट्स अगेन this is, I would say this is lack of practice, I would say, क्योंकि they are not able to identify कि इसमें 2 रिस्क थे, या फिर this is same for the deficiencies and control area as well. Sometimes you combine 2 deficiencies and write the explanation for only 1. उस केस में क्या होगा, लॉस आपका है, because technically it was a, आपको 4 मार्क्स मिल सकते थे उसके लिए, but आपको 2 ही मिलेंगे because you have combined it together. So again, read question carefully, read case study carefully, practice more, तभी ये चीज नहीं होगी. All right, next is assuming standards. Now this is very specific, all right, this is not very common, but I wanted to talk about this as well. Now assuming standards से what do I mean by is कि supposingly as per the you have your standard IS 38 intangible assets, उसके हिसाब से we know that we have to capitalize, like we have to differentiate between the capitalized expenditure, development expenditure and revenue expenditure, and see कि हमने सिर्फ development expenditure को ही capitalize करा है, we all know this, right? But sometimes in the question it is not asking you for the development of, like the split between the two. Probably it, जैसे एडवर्टाइजमेंट कॉस्ट वाला एक एग्जांपल था, इट आस्क्ड यू कि एडवर्टाइजमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर हमको शुड इट बी लाइक दे हैव कैपिटलाइज्ड द सेम, सो ये होना चाहिए था या नहीं होना चाहिए था, टेक्निकली यू शुड राइट एज पर IS 38 एडवर्टाइजमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर शुड नेवर बी कैपिटलाइज्ड, दैट शुड बी योर एक्सप्लेनेशन. बट बिकॉज स्टूडेंट्स आर have the habit of assuming the standards, they feel कि इसमें भी स्प्लिट होना चाहिए था कि कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर एंड डेवलपमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर, क्योंकि IS 38 को रेफरेंस करना है. ऑफ कोर्स नॉट, यहाँ पे तो कैपिटलाइज होगा ही नहीं एडवर्टाइजमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर, राइट। तो इसीलिए नेवर अज्यूम स्टैंडर्ड्स। कभी कभार केस स्टडी जरूरी नहीं है कि हमेशा आपको स्प्लिट के बारे में बात करें, हमेशा जरूरी नहीं है कि कैपिटलाइजेशन और रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर के बारे में बात करें, हो सकता है किसी और चीज के बारे में भी बात करें जो यू आर स्किपिंग ऑन बिकॉज यू आर अज्यूमिंग द स्टैंडर्ड कि यही होगा, मैंने तो यही पढ़ा था और यही हमेशा 90% ऑफ द केसेस में यही होता है। सो दिस इज अगेन अ वेरी कॉमन इशू विच पीपल फेस। Another thing, which is the last for the risk and response one, is the difference between risk and threats. Sometimes in the question, in your question number one, you come across a question which is about the control deficiencies, which is about the ethical threats. जहाँ पे आपको बोलते हैं कि identify the ethical threat in this particular question. I hope, guys, that you people know the difference between audit risk and ethical threats. Ethical threats are more towards your the type of threats that we have, and they cater to your independence of the auditor. It is majorly the threats are majorly catered towards your auditor. Risk are towards the management's financial statements. You need to understand the difference. I've seen certain answers wherein people have written in the threats, जैसे ethical threats पूछे कि इसमें क्या क्या threats हो सकते हैं, self review, self interest, all of those. People have written detection risk, people have written control risk, people have written inheritance risk, and उसमें भी overstatement understatement की बात करी है. Does not make any sense. So know the difference between two concepts. These are completely different concepts. Similarly, people also do get confused between risk. I think I'm covering that in the next slide. Lekin risk and control deficiencies also. I think most of you have done that mistake. Ki when the question is asking you for deficiencies, you people write understatement, overstatement. You people, again, you need to understand that these two are completely different concepts. When we are talking about control deficiencies, it is always going to talk about how it is impacting your company as a whole. कंपनी को कैसे प्रॉब्लम हो रही है इस चीज की वजह से, एक डेफिशिएंसी की वजह से. Whereas your risk are very very self-centered to financial statements only. They don't care about how the operations are getting affected या फिर how there are frauds happening or how there is lack of segregation of duties. They don't concern, they don't care about it. They only care about financial statements कि हमारी provisions में कैसे impact हो रहा है, हमारे bank loan में कैसे impact हो रहा है, हमारे current non current liabilities में कैसे impact हो रहा है. They are only concerned with that, whereas your deficiencies are not concerned with these things. So understand the difference between these two, right? So this is what we had for audit risk. Do you people have any doubts in this particular portion? Shall we move ahead with the next one? Anything? Any doubts in this one? I think somebody asked me, as heading, should we focus on risk as per answers and kit? I mean, heading should be basically focus on risk. Yes, it should be focused on risk. Like if you're writing the new client, so you can either write the heading as new client or you can write the heading as detection risk also. So anyways work. Okay. Anything else, guys? Any doubts from this one? Can we move to the next topic? Okay, perfect. Let's move with the internal controls. Okay, now some of the common mistakes for internal controls, not writing the impact of deficiency. So now what I mean by impact is that impact on company as a whole. I've seen people writing the statement from the question. Then they write कि supposing the deficiency is that two people are performing the same task. मतलब कि एक ही prepare कर रहा है and the other person is and the same person is reviewing also. You just write that the person is for example reconciling and reviewing. So what is happening because of that? How is it a red flag? How is it impacting a company negatively? Similarly with the direct controls as well, you write that reconciliation is happening, but okay, reconciliation is happening, good thing, but how is it impacting my company positively or negatively? And this impact is going to fetch you those half marks, not extra marks, half a mark. So similarly to the audit risk, here also the bifurcation happens with one and one and one. Sometimes if you have the test of controls as well. And this half a mark for the deficiencies or direct controls is again split into half and half. Half for the identification, the statement from the question, and half a mark for the impact on the company. So always write how is it going to impact your company negatively in cases of deficiencies, positively in cases of controls. Now, how can you write the impact? So you can talk about the goodwill. Now, goodwill can be employee goodwill, supplier goodwill, company goodwill, any of these. Then you can talk about segregation of duties. Then you can talk about reconciliation, frauds and errors. All of these are examples of the impact, how it is impacting your company as a whole. So that is what you have to talk about over here. Next one is writing some of the controls of deficiency and vice versa. This is a very, very common thing that I've always seen in the test also that I gave to you people. That was some of the mistake that I found. Always again, whenever you feel कि एक deficiency आपने line पढ़ी, you think that now this is very specific to the questions जहाँ पे direct control भी पूछा गया है and control deficiencies भी पूछी गई हैं. अगर सिर्फ control deficiencies पूछे तो direct control possibly है कि नहीं होगा, possibility है, हो भी सकता है. The examiner can give it to you to get you confused. लेकिन 90% of the cases में नहीं होता है. But this is majorly when I'm talking about when the question is also asking you direct controls and the deficiency. So in those cases, reread the statement जो आपने identify करी है. If you have identified a particular statement, reread कि कहीं ये control कहीं ये deficiencies control तो नहीं है या ये control deficiency तो नहीं है. Always read the statement completely. कभी कभार ऐसा होता है कि one statement seems like this is a control, this is a direct control, this is a good thing, but then they write however, but. So these words they use so that they again to make it more deficiencies prone. So again, read the statements carefully, read the case studies carefully, ताकि आपको पता चले that there is a distinction between your controls and the deficiencies in the case study. Next thing is thinking question does not have ample controls or deficiencies. I think this is one of the areas which I think you people only have reached out to me in cases of risk also. This is common for the risk as well. That especially in the past papers and especially in my test and especially in the pre-September mock, I think one or two people have given already. So you people come up to me ki I am not able to identify supposedly, of course, if the question is asking you 5 deficiencies or 5 controls, people come up to me and say कि सिर्फ 3 ही हैं deficiencies, मैंने बहुत अच्छे से case study पढ़ लिया and I'm not able to get more than 3 because the question only has 3. Absolutely no. If you check out any past paper, you will notice कि if the question is asking you 8 audit risks या 5 deficiencies, in the question, you're in the case study basically, you are going to get at least 1 extra. It can be 2, it can be 3 as well. Extra मिलेगा ही मिलेगा. Right, so never ever think that it does not have ample number of controls or ample number of deficiencies or ample number of risks. It does have. It is you who is missing out something, right? Now next thing is talking about impact on financial statements instead of impact on company as a whole. This I've just discussed. Ki impact on financial statements is basically when you talk about the audit risk instead of deficiencies, whereas you have to talk about company as a whole. Right? Anything else, guys, in this one? Any doubts in the internal controls? Any doubts? Anything that you did not understand or any additions you want to do to the general mistake that I've talked about right now? Guys, yes, no, something? Okay, perfect. I hope you people are not sleeping. This is really important. Okay. Chalo, let's start with substantive procedures. Now, nothing is new in this particular slide. I've said this thousands of times right now, but still, I think yesterday only I was checking the test number 6 for substantive procedure for you people. And still for some of the, I won't say for all, of course, I won't say for all, but for some of the students, I can still see that you are learning the substantive procedures. You're writing all general substantive procedures. Guys, you need to understand. Actually, I'm going to post a video today wherein I'm going to talk about some of the easy marks that you can grab in the paper. And 15 to 20% of your entire paper, section A, section B, is substantive procedures. You can yourself, actually it's more, I'm understating it, but it is more. Why? Because in question number 3 you always get at least 15 marks of substantive procedures. In question number 1 you get at least 1 substantive procedure, that is 4 to 5 marks. And in section A also you do get substantive procedure question or case study, full case study, a 10-marker case study. So you need to understand your substantive procedures account for more than 20% of the entire paper, which is too much. It is too much. And if you are learning substantive procedures जो नहीं करना है, if you're writing all general procedures जो नहीं करना है, you are going to sacrifice your 20 marks straight away in the paper. जो कि मतलब आप समझो कि आप 80% में से 50 marks expect कर रहे हो पेपर में, if you are doing this, which is very tough. People are scared, people are not able to get 100 में से 50. How do you think that you will be able to get 80 में से 50 when you are taking this lightly? So again, learning substantive procedures and writing all general is a very, very big mistake that you can do. Now, what to do? What is the solution? सबसे पहले आई नो कि पीडीएफ्स होती हैं, इवन आई हैव प्रोवाइडेड द पीडीएफ इन द ड्राइव लिंक ऑल्सो, जिसमें कॉमनली आज स्टेटमेंट्स है फॉर सब्सटैंटिव प्रोसीजर्स. यू कैन ओनली रेफर टू दोस, क्योंकि आपको फ्रेम करने में इजी होगा कि डिस्कशन विद द मैनेजमेंट या प्रूफ इन टोटल कैलकुलेशन या फिर और रिकैलकुलेट एक्सेट्रा. इट इज अ रेफरेंस पॉइंट फॉर यू, बट ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको आप रट्टा मार के इसको चले जाओगे, यू विल बी गेटिंग द फुल मार्क्स इन द फाइनल पेपर. एब्सोल्युटली नॉट. राइट. सो उस केस में ऑलवेज रिलेट योर सब्सटैंटिव प्रोसीजर्स टू द केस स्टडी, बिकॉज इफ द क्वेश्चन हैज स्पेसिफिकली प्रोवाइडेड यू अ इंफॉर्मेशन इन द केस स्टडी, they are expecting you to talk about that particular substantive procedure only, or that particular case only in the answer that you're writing. They're not expecting you to write something general. एक example मैं बहुत बार दे चुकी हूँ, I think in the group also, when I'm talking in about when I sent you people the voice notes as well, but I still would like to talk about here as well. Supposingly, I'll give you a very small example. I hope इससे clear हो जाए. तो सपोजिंगली आई यू पीपल आस्क मी अ वेरी स्पेसिफिक डाउट इन ऑडिट रिस्क. आपने मुझसे पूछा बैंक लोन के बारे में. सपोजिंगली आपने पूछा कि ये स्प्लिट क्यों होना चाहिए इनटू करंट एंड नॉन करंट लायबिलिटीज एंड हाउ इज इट अ रिस्क, फॉर एग्जांपल. राइट नाउ आई डू नॉट रेफर टू योर स्पेसिफिक डाउट. आई डोंट रेफर टू बैंक लोन doubt. I don't tell you about the current liability, non-current liability, and what is the risk. In general, I tell you what is audit risk. What is audit risk, and then I tell you that there are three kind of audit risk. There are detection, control, inheritance risk. Will you be satisfied with my answer? Tell me, guys, will you be satisfied? Yes or no? Quickly. No? Is there somebody who would be satisfied with my answer? If you yourself ask me this doubt and I just tell about the auditors in general and its types? No. Yes. So, because see, now you won't be satisfied. You'll be thinking she has gone mad. She does not know the concept, and that is the reason she's not telling me anything, because she herself does not know what is the risk in the bank loan, right? Now, similarly, think same scenario apply to this particular scenario also. Case study mein the question has said to you that you have to specifically refer to a revenue based contract का उन्होंने कोई example आपको दिया, and they talked about कि you have to talk about, you have to let us know some of the procedures the auditor will perform for the revenue, for the contracts. So if you're telling something general, something random and not relating to the case scenario, do you think the examiner or the auditor in real life also will get happy with your responses, will get satisfied with your responses? Yes or no? Quickly. No. Yes, of course. So no, they won't be getting satisfied because they asked you कि भाई इस specific scenario से related मेरे को बता दे, मेरे को क्या procedures करने हैं, और आप general चीजें बता रहे हो. Does not make any sense, right? So that is the reason. I know, guys, it is a very easy method to learn and write in the answers, but easy से marks नहीं मिलने वाला. You have to understand. इजी आपके लिए आपको लगेगा कि मार्क्स मिल जाएंगे, बट इजी वे आउट से कभी भी इन लाइफ ऑल्सो यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू गेट easy access to every single thing. Hard work is required in every single field, be it this particular paper. This is a very small example, right? लेकिन hard work की बिना you cannot expect a good result in life also, right? So do your hard work, understand substantive procedures, understand assertions. That is the next point that I want to refer. Sometimes you do not write the assertions का मतलब है the reason why are you performing the substantive procedure. क्यों कर रहे हो? अगर आप रिकैलकुलेट किसी चीज को कर रहे हो तो क्यों कर रहे हो? अगर आप डिस्कशन कर रहे हो मैनेजमेंट से तो क्यों कर रहे हो? व्हाट इज द रीजन व्हाई आर यू डूइंग दैट? सो अगेन, राइटिंग एज पर द केस, writing the assertions is very, very important. Now, how can you relate? I understand it can be a little challenging to do that. Now, you can refer to the debrief videos. You people all have the access on the portal to the debrief videos of the test. Usme for every substantive procedure question, I have very clearly explained to you कि ये मैंने कैसे relate करा है. सबसे पहली बात वो देख सकते हो. Second thing is, I have done debriefs of past papers on YouTube channel, so you can also go and check that out. उसमें भी बहुत सारे substantive procedure के questions, of course, I have debriefed, and in that also I have shown you कि how can you make your general procedures to specific, how can you relate the case study to the substantive procedures. तो again, थोड़ी सी मेहनत कर लो, थोड़ी सी वो वीडियोस देख लो, थोड़ा सा अंडरस्टैंडिंग अपनी बढ़ा लो. आई थिंक यू विल बी इन अ वेरी गुड पोजिशन इफ यू डू दिस, बिकॉज if again, I think I asked this yesterday ki what are the topics that you feel is going to get you easy marks. If you people master substantive procedures, no one can, like, no, I can guarantee you कि you are going to pass double A at any cost अगर आपने substantive procedures को master कर लिया तो. And it's not a difficult task, guys. It's not at all a difficult task. You just need to be little sincere towards this. All right, so this one and the next one is not focusing on what the requirement is in regards to the assertion. So sometimes again, the question specifically says कि हमको accuracy assertion से related substantive procedure चाहिए. Yeah, the question says we only want the assertion, the completeness assertion to be tested. So in those cases, your substantive procedures have to be aligned to that particular assertion really very well. All right. So with this, we're done with substantive procedures as well. Do people have any doubts in this one? Any questions? Any general questions as well till now? Quickly. Yes or no, guys? Any doubts? Okay, perfect. Chalo, let's move to the next topic, which is in regards to your audit reporting questions. All right, the first one is missing or not writing case background. Basically, what I think this is a mistake that 90% of people have done, because I was yesterday only checking the test scripts for test number 6. 90% of people have not written the case background. So basically, what I mean by that is when you are writing about the audit response, be it for the amendment portion, be it for the opinion audit opinion portion. Supposingly, they give you a paragraph that this is something which is going wrong. This is what the company is going wrong, and auditor feels it should be amended, and they are not amending. So you people simply start with writing the audit opinion should be modified, or this is a material misstatement, for example. If you're writing this is a misstatement, what is this? Am I getting the reference to this anywhere in the answers? Of course not. You always, that is the reason, you always have to write the background to the case. And mind you, if you check out the marking scheme for, I think, the pre-September mock or the latest past paper, you will notice that this reference to the case, or basically explaining what is going wrong, will fetch you half a mark. So out of 5 marks, 1 mark is, sorry, not half, 1 mark is for this particular case. And if you're not writing this, straight 1 mark gone out of 5. And I say reporting is one of the easiest portions जहां पे आपको 5 marks free के मिल जाते हैं, because यहाँ पे आपको पता है कि आपको लिखना क्या है. You already know, and same ही type of questions आते हैं reporting में. Next, not knowing the difference between the question. This is again amendment. The questions, the difference between amendment and reporting. I think I explained to you this thing last night is only when I put up a voice note on group. So again, this is important. Amendment and opinion is very, very important, and these two are different areas. जब भी amendment के बारे में they have asked you anything, you have to refer to standard of IS 10, basically about adjusting and non-adjusting events. And when it is asking you about the opinion, that is when you have to talk about कि qualified होगा, modified होगा, या any other paragraphs if you want to include. So know the difference between these two. If you're not knowing the difference, अगर आप amendment में इस वाले portion में अगर आप लिख देते हो reporting वाला, you're not going to get marks, because that is not what the question has asked you for, right? Next thing, not writing. This is again 90% of the students miss on writing, and this is another 1 mark out of the 5 marks that you gain from the reporting question. not writing basis for qualified opinion paragraph. So we all know in the audit report जब हमारा qualified paragraph आता है उसके just बाद basis for qualified opinion paragraph आता है. And basis for qualified opinion basically states that if we have qualified the opinion or if it is an unmodified opinion, why is that so? Basically the reason, the justification for the same. So this paragraph you always have to write in the reporting period, included of your the reporting that you're doing, the type of report or type of opinion that you already have. So do not skip this. This is a very, very important area of the entire paper, of the reporting aspect, because it will fetch you 1 mark, right? Then not writing or misunderstanding materiality. Again, a lot of people again do not write materiality. Again, this will fetch you 1 mark out of 5, which is again important. Calculation of materiality is going to fetch you 1 mark. You have to show if an item is material. You have to compare, because in the question they will always provide you the asset figure or the profit before tax figure. So you always have to calculate the materiality and tell if this is material by amount or not. It is also going to fetch you 1 mark. All right. So are we okay with the reporting area? Any other thing that you want me to mention or discuss? Any other doubts? What is except for? Except for is when you have a qualified opinion, right? So in those cases you say that except for, supposedly the provision was an issue in the reporting, right? And due to which that is the reason you're qualifying the opinion, for example, right? So you say that everything else is absolutely fine, is absolutely true and fair, except for provisions. So that is the meaning of except for. And when should we add this? This is when you add it when only one issue is there in the financial statement, which is provision. For example, कि provision गलत recognize करा है, तो you say we are releasing a qualified opinion which is except for. So except for provision, everything else is absolutely okay. There's no problem in that. So that is your except for. Okay. Any other doubts, guys? Anything else in this particular reporting portion? Then we'll move to section A and we'll be done with the session. Amendment presentation. So simple amendment presentation is you write the statement from the question. You talk about if this is an adjusting event or no. Basically, you talk about that if the condition existed previous year, prior to the year end or no. You talk about that. You talk about IS 10, and then you say since the condition existed previously, it is an adjusting event. That is why it requires an amendment. If it is vice versa, agar year end ke baad it existed, then it is a non-adjusting event and no amendment is required. As simple as that. It's a 2 mark question anyway. So just this much is enough. Okay, anything else? Yes, no? Why are only few people active? I want other people also to be active. Have you people slept, guys? I hope no. Okay. Okay. Chalo, let's move to the last portion and then we are going to discuss a little bit about the mock also. Okay, section A may not too much. I don't want to discuss a lot about it. But section A, again, I think I've already said this once. Ki taking it for granted, you should never take MCQs for granted, because they can actually make or break the entire paper. Why? Because again, you will see in the video that is coming up today, probably if I get the time today or tomorrow for sure. So basically what I mean by is for section A, you people know that it is a 30 marker portion, right? And if you are able to score 12 to 15, I say 20 to be on a very safer edge. Okay, 20 is like अगर आपके 20 section A में आ जाते हैं, nobody can stop you from scoring above 60 in the final paper. ठीक है, but still let's be a little realistic and let's take कि if I am able to score between 12 to 15 in my section A, it can boost my paper so much, because then ultimately out of 70 I only need to get half of it, 35, and उस 35 में से I will tell you some easy marks जो कि easily हो सकता है. So if you are able to score 12 to 15 in section A because you're practicing, you're not taking it for granted, it is going to help you lot in your final paper. right? So do not take it for granted. Practice as much as you can, because in the revision course and the test series, I have three tests for you people, but I'm not really focusing upon section A. Why? Because it is a objective portion, right? If you people have any doubts, you people always reach out to me. But section B में major problem आते हैं, because that is subjective. That is where you actually need me to identify if आपने जो answers लिखे हैं वो सही हैं कि नहीं है. So that is the reason you pick up your BPP as we discussed just now, pick up your Kaplan, pick up Study Hub, and pick up examiner reports. I would say this should be a priority. This should be a priority, and your BPP should be a priority, because BPP में थोड़े से technical ज़्यादा होते हैं questions. So we always have to focus upon the technical area more, because as I said, it is a more tricky area in the final paper. That's that. Not practicing questions, same thing I just mentioned. Not understanding questions, instead rote learning concepts. Now here your section A is the main testament if you are actually understanding the concepts or no. क्योंकि सेक्शन बी में यू कैन गेट अवे बाय राइटिंग स्टोरीज. आप स्टोरी लिख दी आपने, थोड़ा सा 2-3 लाइनों की स्टोरी लिख दी, यू कैन गेट अवे बाय इट. बट इफ यू हैव नॉट अंडरस्टूड द कॉन्सेप्ट रियली वेल, दैट इज द केस, your section A can actually get you into the pit, because section A में या तो option A सही है या option B सही है. You cannot write stories over here, right? So that is the reason you have to understand the concepts and not rote learn them. So this is section A. So are we okay with the mistakes? I've covered all of the common made mistakes with you people. Any doubts, any questions? Anything you want to add, probably anything that I've missed on, or you have any doubts? Okay, perfect. Chalo. Now, since now is the mock time, you people have the deadline till 25th of August. Today is 22nd, so I'm assuming either tomorrow or day after you're going to appear for your mock. Now, I have made I have made this slide कि mock से पहले क्या करना है, what should you do during the mock and what should you do after the mock, ताकि क्लैरिटी मिल जाए फॉर योर प्रोसेस अहेड जो मॉक का आने वाला है. बिकॉज आई वॉन्ट यू पीपल to take mocks very, 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 very seriously. All right. Chandani is asking which all chapters should be revised for section A. All chapters, Chandani. क्योंकि section A में your all topics are tested. Your substantive procedure are tested. Reporting is tested. Your starting area, which is corporate governance, ethical issues, all of these are tested. So mainly I would say substantive procedures revise कर लो, reporting revise कर लो, and starting के 4-5 chapters revise कर लो, and I think you'll be good. Okay, so what should you be doing before you appear for your mock? सबसे पहले revising the entire syllabus and any notes and videos. So you can, if you are part of my revision course, probably you can go through the revision videos again on a 2x speed, तो ताकि फटाफट से revision हो जाए. Yeah, you can also watch some webinars on YouTube. So there are tutors who do a lot of webinars on YouTube. I might share the links in the group as well for you people if you want. So probably you can do a revision from those webinars also, because that provides you good understanding of the concepts with the practice. So revision of the syllabus via notes. So I have already provided you the notes and the videos. सबसे पहले revision करो. उसके बाद read at least 2 recent examiner reports. Recent meaning March, June 25, September, December 24. These 2 past exam reports, read thoroughly. इनको रीड करके अपने नोट्स बना लो. आई विल बी प्रोवाइडिंग यू द नोट्स फॉर दीज टू द टेस्ट सीरीज एंड रिविजन कोर्स बैचेस, सो डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट, बट योर ड्यूटी इज टू रीड देम, right? So reading these two, because then you'll be getting to know some of the intricacies of some of the portions that you probably might be skipping on before. Then make a list. Sorry, this is a list of your mistakes and follow through. So this is, I have been telling from the starting कि एक list बनाओ of all your mistakes and read them again and again, so that at least ये same mistakes आप वापस नहीं कर रहे हो. नई mistakes कर सकते हो of course, but at least जो आपने पहले करी है, you're not making the same mistakes again, right? So that is another thing. Specifically focus on areas you have problem. तो जिस area में आपको problem है, supposingly auditors में problem है, responses में problem है, substantive procedures में you have issues, specifically go through them again. Reread. Kaplan से read करना है, book से read करना है, या फिर study hub से read करना है, practice ज़्यादा करनी है. Do this area really well, ताकि at least because you already know the problem. Why not form a form a solution for the same? So this is again important. So ये चार चीजें, before you appear for the pre-September mock, you have to do these four things, or any other mock if you're appearing for. So these four things you have to do before you do that, right? Next, now, some of the things that you should follow during the mock when you are appearing for the mock. ठीक है? सबसे पहले sit with a fresh mind. सबसे पहले supposingly you now right now only decide, क्योंकि deadline 25th है, I am going to sit on 24th. ये मत सोचो कि अच्छा कर लूंगी या कर लूंगा, कभी भी हो जाएगा, नहीं. 24th को बोलो, सपोजिंगली आई एम जस्ट गिविंग एग्जाम्पल, आप पहले भी या बाद में भी कर सकते हो. 24th को सोचो कि आज मैं मॉक करने वाला हूँ, आज ही सोच के रख लो. तो यू वुड नो कि अच्छा 24th को मेरा मॉक है, उससे पहले मेरे को वो सब चीजें करनी है. एंड 24th को अपना शेड्यूल खाली रखो, एटलीस्ट फॉर ऑल द पीपल हु आर वर्किंग ऑल्सो, दिस इज स्पेसिफिक टू देम इज वेल, कि मेक योर शेड्यूल एम्प्टी, कि सुबह रख लिया, शाम को रख लिया, फॉर एग्जैक्ट 3 hours. नेवर एवर ब्रेक योर मॉक इनटू सेक्शन ए एंड सेक्शन बी, कि सेक्शन ए सुबह कर लिया, सेक्शन बी बाद में कर लिया. फिर तो करो ही मत मॉक. अगर आप एक बार में बैठ के, इफ यू आर नॉट डूइंग योर मॉक फॉर स्ट्रेट 3 hours, डज नॉट मेक एनी सेंस. सो अगेन, अगर आप मॉक कर रहे हो सारा एक साथ करो, नहीं कर रहे हो तो बिल्कुल भी मत करो. सो सिट विद अ फ्रेश माइंड, गिव इन प्रॉपर एग्जाम कंडीशंस, लॉक योर रूम फॉर नो डिस्टर्बेंस. अगेन, ऐसा ट्रीट इट लाइक कि आपका एग्जाम है 24th को, फॉर एग्जाम्पल. एक रूम में बैठो जहां पे देयर इज नो डिस्टर्बेंस, nobody is coming to you, so that you have 3 hours just between you and your screen, you and your mock, just nobody else, right? So give in proper exam conditions. Think कि आपका आज एग्जाम है, तभी आप उसको सीरियसली ले पाओगे. टाइम योर सेल्फ क्वेश्चन वाइज. दिस इज फॉर मी, दिस इज स्पेसिफिकली फॉर मी, बिकॉज आई वॉन्ट टू नो कि अगर कोई टाइम मैनेजमेंट में इशू कर रहा है, आई वॉन्ट टू नो कि किस क्वेश्चन में द इशू इज कमिंग अपॉन. सो दैट इज द रीजन कि अगर आपने क्वेश्चन 1 अटेम्प्ट करा विच इज अ नॉलेज बेस्ड क्वेश्चन, तो कितना टाइम लगा? 3 से 4 मिनट यूजली. देन इन द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, सो टाइम योर सेल्फ क्वेश्चन वाइज, सो दैट आई नो दैट वेयर आर यू एक्चुअली लैगिंग इन टू. Think of it as the final exam. Stop as, yes, this is actually an addition that I am doing from this attempt onwards. पहले मैं बोलती थी पूरा मॉक अटेम्प्ट करो और मुझे बताओ कितना टाइम एक्स्ट्रा लगा, बट उससे आई थिंक स्टूडेंट्स टेन टू टेक एक्स्ट्रा टाइम. एंड पेपर में मॉक में 70+ आते हैं, बट एक्चुअल एग्जाम में कम आते हैं बिकॉज टाइम मैनेजमेंट इश्यूज. नाउ आई वॉन्ट यू पीपल टू स्टॉप एज सून एज 3 hours गेट ओवर. चाहे आपका पूरा 20 नंबर का क्वेश्चन छूट गया हो, चाहे आपका 5 नंबर का क्वेश्चन छूट गया हो, लीव एज सून एज यू आर डन विद द 3 hours, ताकि आपको पता चल सके कि एग्जाम में कितना आप अटेम्प्ट कर पाओगे और कितने मार्क्स आपको आ पाएंगे. एंड देन इफ यू वांट, यू कैन अटेम्प्ट द जो आपने अनअटेम्प्टेड पोर्शन है अगर है, यू कैन अटेम्प्ट दोस एंड यू कैन सेंड इट टू मी सेपरेटली, ताकि वो भी आपका इवेल्युएट हो जाए. सो डोंट वरी, आई विल इवेल्युएट अगर ऐसा होता है कि आपका रह जाता है पोर्शन. ऐसा मत समझो कि मैं नहीं करूंगी, वो भी करूंगी, बट आई जेन्युइनली वांट टू नो एंड यू विल आल्सो सी. मेरे को आपको दिखाना है कि अगर आप इस टाइम मैनेजमेंट के साथ पेपर में जाते हो, जो कि 1 हफ्ता बाद होने वाला है, तो आप कितना पेपर अटेम्प्ट कर पाओगे और कितने मार्क्स आपके आ सकते हैं. So please make sure, this is very very important, this is most important of all the points that I've told you, कि only attempt उतना पेपर जितना आप 3 घंटे में कर पाओगे. All right, section A, section B combined, not individually, of course. Okay, then after the mock has been done, what to do? So once you get your evaluations, once I send you the evaluation, so how am I going to send you the evaluations is via the portal. मैं comments बनाऊंगी individual paper, individual topics के. I am also going to send you individual voice notes this time. Mock के लिए मैं हमेशा आपको individual voice notes भेजूंगी. टेस्ट के लिए इंडिविजुअली भेजती थी मैं, ग्रुप पे भेजती थी, बट नाउ फॉर द मॉक, बिकॉज दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दिस इज स्पेसिफिक टू यू, you are going to receive individual voice notes from my end. So you have to see what are your repeated. सबसे पहले देखो आपने repeat mistakes क्या करी हैं. Are there any repeated mistakes जो आपने टेस्ट में भी करी थी, which you have done in your previous mocks, assignments, etc. also, या फिर आपने कोई नई mistakes करी हैं. सबसे पहले आइडेंटिफाई, मेक अ लिस्ट ऑफ इट, कि रिपीटेड मिस्टेक्स का कॉलम ये रहा और न्यू मिस्टेक्स का कॉलम ये रहा, ताकि आपको पता चले कि अच्छा मैं तो अभी भी सेम मिस्टेक्स वापस कर रहा हूँ, क्या फायदा मेरी प्रैक्टिस का. फिर नई मिस्टेक्स को आइडेंटिफाई करोगे तो वो भी रेक्टिफाई करोगे वंस यू आर डन विद योर मॉक. इफ सेम मिस्टेक्स, इट्स अ ह्यूज प्रॉब्लम, इट्स अ रेड फ्लैग. Visit your comments and voice notes which are sent by me. Question by question, you can reach out कि ये पहले question है, इसका voice note पढ़ा, मेरा comment पढ़ा, and see your answer. If it is okay, you are good. If you've gotten full marks, good. If not, where was the mistake? Make a question by question note of what went wrong and what was why the mistakes got cut, which I just now told you, and revision. That's all. So I hope that this is clear. The mistakes, common mistakes are clear. The approach to the mock is very, very clear. In case you have any doubts, you can please let me know right now. Any doubts, guys? Ma'am, you have to give precept. No, not on 24th. You can give me, you can submit me the mock any time before 25th of August, 11:59 p.m. IST, which is end of the day of 25th. तो कभी भी करो, आपके convenience पे है. When you feel ready for the exam, that is when you can appear for it. It's not specific to 24. I just gave an example. Anything else, guys? Kuch general doubt? Any other doubts that you people have?